And comes, there is Lars van der Haar.
Everyone a bit more excited than we already are.
And finally, Meisen, the German champion running for Stellarts, bet first. As we're counting down 30 seconds, they will sprint alongside the quayside and then cross the harbour here with a bridge that's been built specifically for this event. And we're underway. Kevin Pausch with a good start as well as they streak towards the bridge. It's a right-hander. And it's Lars van der Haar who's got the best start. Van der Haar leads them through. Meisen into second place. Then comes Van der Poel. And then Wout van Aert. And problems there for the US champion, Stephen Hyde. Oh, he's going to have to run to the pits, which is some way. Not the best of starts for the US national champion. And that is going to put him at a massive disadvantage. It's about a 400-meter run. Just saw the Icelandic champion going through there, Ingvar Ormarsson. And as I say, this is going to be the venue for the 2019 UCI World Championship. So a chance for a lot of these nations to find out more about this venue. Beautiful place here in Bogense with its medieval town, and it's become one of the most popular seaside resorts in Denmark. And I think it's going to become a popular venue in World Cyclo-cross, because we've had 3 fantastic races over the course of the day so far. The women's race, if you missed the coverage earlier, won by Thanakant, who has extended her lead in the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. There is Stephen Hyde. He's had a good start to the season, currently in 12th overall, but obviously not a good start to this race. And he'll be hoping to try and pick up some places as he goes on. Sorry, correction, 12th in the UCI standings, of course. Oh, there's a big problem there. Joel Bertolini getting caught up in that. So too was Michael Van Torden out. Real carnage through there. Fabian Canal going through, of course. Fabian with that bad news the other day that Army Delta will be ceasing to sponsor that team. So he is on the search for a new ride. And Hyde has managed to get himself up the back markers now. Can he pick his way through the field? His off-camber sections causing some serious trouble. We saw lots of problems for riders in the women's race earlier today, but it's history repeating itself. Mathieu van der Poel on the front from Wout van Aert. Then comes, oh, Van der Haan. He was lucky to recover from there. Then Tunert coming through. Good start as well from Vincent Bastians. Tunert, though, almost coming a cropper on the hurdles. So Van der Haar almost coming a cropper on the hurdles. And Mathieu van der Poel with 3 wins from 3 so far. Looking, I think, to probably eclipse his father as a legend of Dutch cycling. Looking as well like a good start from Marcel Wildhaber, the Swiss rider. Just looking at this again. Van der Haar, it's like he just changed his mind between the two hurdles and couldn't jump it, couldn't run it. He was lucky to just drag the bike on. Van der Poel then over the bridge, which allows access into from the this section back to the harbour area, and that short section of cycle path, no real respite as they then go onto the off-camber. Now this is going to be interesting. Van der Poel opting to and nearly having problems, and he's lost all his momentum. Van der Haar looked like he dealt with that much better. And it's allowed everything to bunch up a little bit. Van der Poel from Van Aert. Then comes Van der Haar. Just looking at this, Van der Poel. Coming through. And just, we saw a similar bit of rodeo riding at Coxsider. He has got so much strength and great balance, but he just lost the momentum, crucially. And that has allowed now a reshuffle out the front. Looks now like Van Aert might have got himself in front. Wildhaber just going through your shot there. And well, the experienced Swiss rider, it has come together. Van der Haar in second place behind Van Aert. Then comes Van der Poel, and then it's two Neerts. These four together, and they have gone through that first lap at high speed onto the tarmac. Van Aert won't want to do all the work on the road. Pull them together. I think that's going to bring everything back. Behind is the chase group coming up, and there's an attack going through there from two Neerts. He doesn't want to wait. He's going to try and get himself away, and it is the World Cup leader and European champion Mathieu van der Poel who gives chase. Van Aert allows Van der Haar follow. A little bit of a gap then back to the group led through by Merlier, Moisen, Borosch, Bastens, and Kevin Pauwels, Quinten Hermans, and Marcel Wildhaber all in there. Jim Hermans in there as well. And David van der Poel, Mathieu's big brother, also in that group. Laurens Sweeck, currently second in the standings, is losing ground to a lot of other riders here right now. In particular, Lars van der Haar, who was only 1 point behind him in third place. We'll just see this again as it comes through. It's just thought, I'll have a little go. Duck down the inside. And look at the response straight away from Mathieu van der Poel. You can see as the light just starting to, the sun drifting down towards the horizon. That's why we're starting a little bit earlier. And don't think we've seen a race with riders getting sea spray in their face quite like this. The waves crashing over the boulders right next to the course. An added challenge for the riders. This has actually just eased off a little bit from this morning. And two Neerts then leading through. Riding for Telenet Fidei Alliance. Then comes Van Aert and Van der Poel. Oh, almost a problem there for Aert, but he just managed to recover. These run-ups, though, are causing all sorts of trouble for the riders because there's big tussocks on there as well. Oh, that's a big mistake again from Aert, and lucky really for Van Aert not to get caught by that flailing bike. You can see it's dragging the bike. Different options here for each of the riders as how to transport the bike through those sections. And when we watched the women's race earlier on, shouldering seemed to work pretty well for Helen Wyman, who ended up in second place. The chase group, big chase group coming through here. Pretty much dominated by Belgian riders in there. No real surprise. Let's look at this again. And just managed to slip the seat post round that pole rather than hooking the saddle on it. I think Ed's got lucky there, really. And then no one was able to take advantage. Let's see through the hurdles again. All going to ride them, I think. And all through safely. Chase group now being led through by Tim Merlier from Crelan Charles, the teammate of Wout van Aert. Vincent Bastens chooses to run. There's a fall there for Mikkel Boros, the Czech champion. And that's going to allow Wildhaber and David van der Poel, Corne van Kessel as well to all close up. And again, it's been another little dig from Toon Aerts. He's trying to get himself clear once again. Currently 10th overall in the standings of the 2017-18 Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. Best result so far, round one in Iowa with a 7th place. No one really has matched Mathieu van der Poel in terms of consistency. Sleek, who's in second and was second in Iowa, 4th in Coxsider, only 21st in round 2 in Waterloo. Lars van der Haar had a bad round in Waterloo as well, but Mathieu van der Poel, 3 wins out of 3. He could almost be looking to wrap up the World Cup in the next couple of rounds. Zeven in Germany next week, then Nome in January. So we've got a big gap between rounds 5 and Namur for round 6. We've got about 3 weeks gap between Zeven and Namur. Then comes Huizenzollern, Nome, and of course the final round, round 9 in Hyde. But Van der Poel has a big advantage, 80 points advantage coming into this round. Here comes the chasers, led through by Merlier. Then it's Quentin Hermans, Tim Huysen. So all Belgians together there. Vincent Bastens, Kevin Pauwels in there as well. Dan Soete just leading through the next chase group. Lawrence Sweek is going to be dropping down the standings here because he's some way off the pace. Then comes the Italian champion, Joe Bertolini. And Van der Poel and Aerts then together at the front. They're trying to get this gap over Van Aert and Van der Haar. So Beerbank Corendon up against Telenet Fidea Lions at the front here. Beerbank Corendon looking to get the win in both the women's and the men's, with Sanakant winning earlier today in the elite women's race. Aerts be looking to try and do something about that. Stuck on the wheel of the Dutchman. Onto lap 3 of 9. And it's a handy gap over Van Aert and Van der Haar. And Van der Haar maybe can allow himself to sit in there, let Van Aert do the work, because he's got his teammate just ahead there to announce. Let the world champion do some work to close that gap. Into the pits for Aert. He's gone in for a change of bike. No change for Van der Poel. He keeps the pressure on. Van der Poel with some great rides in this season's UCI Mountain Bike World Cup as well. The opening rounds. Also picked up a win, stage win in the Tour of Belgium. A real all-rounder. Oh, a huge amount of seawater just coming across there and drenching Lars van der Haar. Completely new challenge to contend with for the riders here. And trust me, this has calmed down a little since this morning as well, this weather. The waves aren't quite as big as they were. It's going to be an interesting one come the World Championships in 2019, which will obviously be deeper into the winter than we currently are. So those Arctic winds could come into play even more. Van der Poel trying to stretch out the lead now over Aert. Oh, and Aert slips out. Just allowing Van der Poel to get 2 or 3 bike lengths clear now. And we've got a... Oh, this isn't looking too good here. Not sure who that is that's gone down. That's Kenneth Hansen, I think. It is. That's Kenneth Hansen of Denmark, and I think that's an arm injury. So bad luck for Kenneth Hansen. Out of the race on his home World Cup. Strong contingent from Denmark. Hansen, the top-seeded rider of the Danish contingent. Seb Carstensen for the CST Sound American Eagle team, which is run by Olympic champion Bart Berentjens. He's going to be their main rider now, potentially. But at the front of the race, it looks like Wout van Aert, the world champion, is starting to distance Lars van der Haar. Can he close that gap now on the 2 men in front of him? Van der Poel and Aert. And this is all working nicely for Van der Poel in terms of his ambitions for the 2017-18 Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup, because Aert is quite a few points behind, and all these guys will be picking up points on Svik, who's the closest. Van der Haar is 3rd overall and will leapfrog Svik, but he needs really to be closer to his compatriot Van der Poel to have any chance of challenging, I think, in the second half of this World Cup season. Over the bridge they go together. Don't forget, you can track all the information from the race live on the UCI website, uci.ch. Go to the Cyclo-cross pages, and under the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup pages, we have live tracker. Oh, the crowd are loving it here. You could see that was going to come from a long way away. Aert's taking the inside line on foot. Van der Poel going wide on the wheels, and it was inevitable, I think, that there were going to be problems there. Van Aert coming through in third, then Van der Haar. It is between these four by the look of it now, because there's a big, big gap. Here we go, looking at it again. And to be fair, Aerts had the inside line. And lucky, really, to not get caught up on those banners. Van der Poel. This off-count, these sections are proving tricky. Bertolini riding it quite cleanly, though. Field Harbour running. Very, very challenging, these sections, and then super fast through the finish area on this tarmac. Yet to see a sprint finish for the win yet, but these two maybe could be looking to deliver that with just about 20 minutes of racing on the clock. Two Aerts leading through then.
And there we see now world champion still chasing.
And the gap back to Wout van Aert.
2 of 2 leaders are going over the bridge. And here is Wout van Aert, and that is
12 seconds. That is a good buffer for the two leaders. Wout van der Haar.
Here comes Wout van der Haar again.
And it's another 9 seconds back to him, and then you can see they have the entire length of the finish straight there. Advantage over 5th place onwards. Coming up to will be the halfway point as they reach the run-up. As they reach the run-up at the end of this long section along the seashore. Again, the sea spray showering across the track. Looks like Van Haar's struggling to close that gap to Van Aert. Quinten Hermans is leading the chase group through. Merlier, Van Kessel, Boros, Bijstens all in there. Aerts and Van der Poel close together, and we're pretty much at the halfway point of the race now. Van Aert coming through. Looks like he's closing that gap slightly. It's not the tidiest run through there of two Aerts, but keeping himself ahead of Mathieu van der Poel. Both of them managing to stay out of trouble. It looks like Van der Haar is struggling to stay with Van Aert now. So we're slowly starting to have the reckoning that decides where these podium positions are going to go, I think. Oh, a little slip there from Jim Arnott. Very, very steep, the run up there, and there's lots of little bumps and tussocks as well, which just break the rhythm. One of the best riders going up that we've seen so far was Helen Wyman in the women's race. Looked confident, looked like she'd been practicing it quite a lot as well over the course of the morning, just to get the line perfectly right through there. Van Aert safely through the hurdles. 10 seconds the gap. Then comes Van der Gaal. Remember, he had a little bit of a problem earlier. Oh, it's another one. I've never seen a 360 in a... that's usually in BMX Park, but Van der Gaal managing to throw in a 360 into the bargain. Recovered well here, actually, because it never looked that promising. And actually didn't lose too much momentum. Didn't panic. But that has looked problematic for him. Van der Gaal, that's those hurdles. So the two race leaders going to be climbing up to the historic St. Nicolai Kirk. Over 600 years old, that church. They go over the bridge. Very historic town here, Bogense. Founded back in the 13th century. And I think it's going to be a very popular venue in 2019 for the UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships. Very much geared up as well for the arrival of lots of fans, because it's one of the most popular holiday centres, certainly on the island of Hyde. And the crowd has steadily grown through the course of the day. They've been vocal, they've been enthusiastic, and it's seen the riders really reacting well to the support. Just watching again. This time you see Van der Poel actually opted in to run it, and Van Aert, he was able to ride, pick his own line. And the chase still very much on for the positions behind and the points towards the overall standings. Very, very close, really behind Van der Poel. Van der Poel in a different class when it comes to the overall standings at the moment, with 3 wins from 3. Nobody else managing to get more than 1 podium finish. Van der Poel moving to the front just to show Aerts he's there. Aerts though sticking with him, sticking on that back wheel. And just in the background we see Van Aert now. It was 12 seconds last lap. He got it down to about 10. Can he close it any further? It is 10 seconds for Van Aert. So he's closed it back a little bit. Van der Gaal back in 4th, and I think he's going to be riding pretty much a time trial now. And it looks like he's having a little dig here. Van der Poel trying to stretch the elastic between him and two Aerts. And it does seem to be putting him under pressure. Van der Gaal into the pits, getting the new bike. The mechanics working hard to prepare these bikes for each time they come through. Has dried a little bit from earlier on. Some of those sections haven't really had enough sun to dry out. And of course the sea spray coming in there helping as well. A lot of bike changes in the chasing pack as they go through. Bike change there for Corner Van Kessel. And look at this. Van der Poel almost jumped onto the top of the run up there from the bike. Carried so much momentum. And he's starting to pull away from Toon Aerts. And now Aerts might come under pressure from the world champion here. Van Aert in third. Then comes Van der Haar in fourth. So 6 seconds, the lead that Van der Poel's got at the last control point. Remember, you can track all of this action as well as watching us here on the live coverage. We have live timing and GPS tracking on the UCI website. Little slip there for Van Kessel, allowing the others to come through. Boros recovering from his earlier crash. And the machine has stepped up another gear. Mathieu Van der Poel to the front of the race and pulling away, looking to complete this, continue this perfect run in the 2017-18 Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. Winner in Iowa, winner in Waterloo, winner in Koksijde, and now leader in Bogense. And it looks like Ed, his head just seems to have gone down a little bit. Ed's just behind. Van der Poel starting to stretch out the lead. Another second he's gained on that section. And Aerts has a little look across just to see where Van Aert is coming through in terms of that second and third place. But you can see just going out of sight there, the white jersey of the World Cup leader, the European champion, Mathieu Van der Poel. He's putting the hammer down now over the bridge. And he'll be climbing up to the Nicolai Kirk, and he will be, I think, in excess of 10 seconds ahead of Toon Aerts very soon. Wout van Aert, another 10 seconds back in third place, opting to ride this time. And when he doesn't have to negotiate another rider, Van der Poel does that smoothly. And that is going to stretch out the lead a little bit more as well for him. I think Aerts coming through, looking to see whether Van Aert opts to ride as well or not. He does. Oh, back wheel just skitted across the ruts there. But he held it together. Then comes Van der Haar. He's on that hard surface path just at the top of the bank. No real respite anywhere on this course, because where it is flat, the wind is coming through. You can see the shadows starting to form as the sun is dipping down towards the horizon. Really starting to feel now like the winter is coming for cyclocross. And, you know, no disrespect to the first two rounds, but this does feel much more like cross. It's cold, it's icy. And it's Van der Poel on his own now. Just turning that big gear, trying to keep the momentum going. He's stretching away from Tarrant.
Is 10 seconds with 4 laps to go. 4 laps to go for Mathieu van der Poel.
Past the halfway point.
And the World Cup leader.
Clock is running for Van der Poel. Back to Arts. It's going to be round about the 11-second mark. Oh, 13 seconds now. So he's almost doubled his advantage in half a lap. And I think Arts could come under pressure from Van Aert over the next couple of laps here, possibly. 4 laps left to go for Van der Poel. The wind is still buffeting the riders as they go through. He opts not to get a new bike there through the pits. We're going to see if Arts will come through. No, he too carries on. No new bike either for Van Aert. So they're all pretty happy with the setup at the moment. Just watching again when he actually got the clear run through there. Van der Poel able to get that line just as he wanted to. Van Aert as well, very smooth through there. One advantage of the running is on some of those sections where it is quite rutted and still quite muddy, keeping the tyres clean, but the problem you then get is potentially clogging up your cleats and your pedals. But so far, no significant problems for this man. Carries so much speed up that banking. And I think Tarrant is starting to suffer a little bit here from trying to take the race to Mathieu van der Poel, and you've got to do that because the way that Van der Poel's riding, the form that he's on at the moment, I think the only way, if you try and stay with him, he will just ride away from you. You've got to try and attack him, try and catch him out, try and put him under pressure. But so far, nobody has really been able to crack him in the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. Van der Poel is going to be cementing his place in the overall standings here with 4th place at the moment. So he's keeping himself certainly in contention for a good high position in the World Cup standings. Tarrant, he could move himself up well as well. Wout van Aert, he's coming in 7th place overall. He's been steadily improving though. 14th in round 1, 7th in round 2. Got on the podium at Coxsider in round 3. And another podium finish here will give him a big points boost, probably move him up to the top 3 or 4, depending on where Arts finishes and Van der Poel finishes. There's Van der Poel only 9 points ahead of him. In fact, it's very, very close in the standings. 2nd through to 9th place. There's just 14 points between all of those riders. So we're going to be seeing a big shuffle, I think, of positions in the standings behind Mathieu van der Poel. And Van der Poel, if he can do this, he's going to take himself up to 320 points, which is going to put him more than a win ahead of anybody else. Oh, now, is it another problem for... Oh, my goodness me. Van der Poel is going to be pleased to see the back of these hurdles at the end of this race. That is, I think he's had one clear run through there, so far. Over the bars this time. It has not been Lars van der Gaar's day in terms of those hurdles. Tarrant, his teammate though, for Telenet for their Lions. There we can see in real distance terms, 160 meters. So about 10 meters per second. We're equating to. And I think that's going to get bigger. Now, just looking to see, there's Van Aert just behind. So Tarrant maybe losing time on Van der Poel. I think he could also be getting closed down by Van Aert, but Van Aert just a little bit slower riding that than Aerts was running, but he is closing in. The world champion riding for Creelan Charles. Then Van der Gaar just looking to see where 5th place might be, and it's some way behind Van der Gaar. I think we're best part of 20-25 seconds maybe back to 5th place. Van der Poel onto the tarmac. He's actually going to be lapping riders now. I think that could be the Icelandic champion Ingvar Ómarsson that's going to get passed by the big Dutchman coming through here. And there'll be 3 laps to go this time round. Just churning that gear. Coming through to complete that 6th lap, and the clock starts running. It's 18 seconds, his advantage at the last check. Will he have built on that? I think he's going to have built on it over Tarrant. And the question is now, can Wout van Aert close in? 21 seconds, the gap to 2nd place, and it's just a handful of seconds. 6 seconds now between Aerts and Van Aert. So, Van Aert, I think, is going to be challenging to take over 2nd place here from his compatriot. Again, Van der Poel, no need to go into the pits for him. Lars van der Gaar, lots of encouragement from the local crowd here. And Van der Gaar, 55 seconds. Aerts, oh, he's going to get hunted down here now, I think, by Van Aert. The 2 Belgians going to be fighting it out here for 2nd place as it stands. Then the waves are starting to pick up again. Could be more than a little distracting for the riders. That spray coming across potentially. If it gets any worse, but you can see as well, fastest lap, Van der Poel, some 6 seconds quicker than anyone else in terms of the laps. Van der Poel just muscles the bike up there. Plenty of support from the crowd as well. That gap is coming down between Aerts and Van Aert. And now it's time trial time for Van der Poel. Aerts safely up and carrying slightly more momentum up the bank than Van Aert. Van Aert off the bike a little bit earlier on the slope, which might cost him a second or so in terms of the lost momentum. These 2 are fighting it out here. Oh, that was close as well. Aert just caught his foot. Van der Poel very nearly riding the entirety of that bank. Oh, but he hooked up. We didn't see that earlier. Hooked up his pedal in the catch netting. But I don't think it's going to take a little bit more than that to slow this man down at the moment. Still, best part of 17 seconds on the live GPS. And safely through the hurdles. And really now, Van der Poel has smashed this race to bits behind. It's real war of attrition behind, and now Van Aert has gone into second place. And he's starting to open the advantage over Aert. I think Art's just showing a little bit of tiredness when he's running. He's nearly caught his foot a couple of times when running. So Van der Poel took the European title as well, of course, in the Czech Republic recently. He's been stating as well that he's got a desire to go to the Olympics. Could see a change in focus maybe in the next couple of seasons for some more action on the mountain bike. Art's swapping over for a new bike there, and hopefully from his point of view it's going to allow him to get back some of those seconds on Wout van Aert. In second place, it's 23 seconds. Here's the lead so far for Van der Poel. Lars van der Haar is looking like a lonely figure in no man's land, really. Nearly 30 seconds behind Aert and 30 seconds ahead of Van Kessel, who's in 5th place. Van der Poel using every inch of the track there to get around that corner. Van Aert off and running on the off camber. Looking to see, ooh, little adjustment there. And he came through. He lost a little bit of momentum again coming through. Just looking to see that Arts is quicker running there. That's for sure. And as this afternoon sunshine bathes him, the World Cup leader, keeping the tempo high. Van der Haar safely through. In fact, looked pretty good there. Had a chance to look across, he'd have seen Van Aert there, the world champion. But he's got a lot to do if he's going to close in on this man. It's going to be 2 laps to go now for Mathieu van der Poel. Battle going on back for 5th place. Van Kessel in there, Merlier too. They've got a bit of a gap over Hermans and Sweek. Starting to fragment behind. This great coverage we got here from the zip wire cam, tracking the riders all the way down the straight. And he's going to go through the arch with 2 to go. Mathieu van der Poel, 48 minutes of racing on the clock so far. The gap for Wout van Aert is going to be over 20 seconds. 23 seconds or thereabouts for Van Aert. Another 4 or 5 seconds back to Aerts. It's 7 seconds, in fact. They got back to Aerts. And then you can just see, here comes Van der Haar. I just wonder if over these 2 laps he might have the possibility of closing in on his teammate Arts and maybe just sneaking third place. It's 22 seconds is the gap between Arts and Van der Haar. The wind is definitely picking up, I think. Here, the white horse is coming in on the sea. It's a change of bike for the world champion, and that's allowed Arts to come back onto the wheel of Van Aert. So the battle for second still very much on, with just a little less than 2 laps to go. Van Aert has a little look over his shoulder, I think, just to see where Arts is. Here comes Van der Haar in 4th place. Definitely getting more spray coming across now. Just looking along the distance, still no sign of Merlier and Van Kessel, so they are some way behind. Now, coming up that banking, we missed this earlier. Oh, he rode it this time. He's been getting closer and closer to the top there, and he rode it. Okay, the foot came out, but it didn't go down, so we'll take that as a clean for Van der Poel. I think he's been setting himself that challenge as he's gone through. He's been trying to get himself further up the banking. Every time just shows the sort of nature of the rider. He's trying to push himself. Arts has got himself back ahead of Van Aert there. Van der Haar still in that lonely 4th position. So we're going to have some big sprints coming in for minor placings, because there are some big groups coming through way back in the teens, and of course points going all the way down. There's also I think question marks over selection for the Worlds next year, the 2018 World Championships in Valkenburg on the Kalberg, of course, and so riders will be looking to stake a claim there as well, I think. But it looks like he's got his 2nd win back, and he's putting the pressure on again, trying to make Van Aert have to respond, pick up his pace. 30 seconds now is the advantage for this man, the man on your screen, the World Cup leader, the European champion. And so far, in terms of the 2017-18 Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup, undefeated Mathieu van der Poel. Don't forget, you can track all of these GPS timings and distances live on the UCI website. And that'll be in effect for each of the rounds. Get ourselves ready. Not too long for recovery for the riders, because it's just 6 days. The next round of the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup, remember, is next Saturday, and that's going to be coming to you from Zeven in Germany. Please join us once again for the live coverage across all of the different formats, and also please do get yourself involved with the hashtag Telenet UCI CXWC for your thoughts and questions and pictures, if you're on site, of each round of the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. Arts then has got himself a bit of a second wind, putting the pressure on. Van Aert riding, and you can hear the disc brakes screeching as he came down. These two very close together. Just seen Van der Poel disappearing out of shot, and Van der Gaar chasing in 4th place, keeping himself in contention for certainly 2nd place overall in the series. Maybe 1 or 2 more performances like this from Van der Poel, and I think everyone will be throwing in the towel in terms of the World Cup title. They'll be going for individual wins. He's going to get the bell this time. It's going to be a welcome sound, I'm sure, for Mathieu van der Poel. Down this finish straight. Impassive as he goes through now. Van Aert has managed to get himself back up in front of us. I think these two are going to be testing each other on this last lap. It was 30 seconds, the lead that Van der Poel had at the last intermediate. He's going to be building on that, surely, I think, over Van Aert and Aerts. It comes through. Great support all the way around this track. Not a big town, Bogense, but it's seen an influx of cycling fans, not just from across Denmark, but all over Europe. He's taken another 7 seconds out of them, Van der Poel. This is imperious, this ride, and it's got to be demoralizing for some of the others if he can just keep taking time. And in fact, fair play, Lars van der Gaar has managed to keep the gap pretty much the same for the last couple of laps. So Lars van der Gaar is arguably going stronger in this second half than maybe these two have been. Shoulder to shoulder, it's getting a bit tasty between these two on this last 2/3 of the lap, and Van der Gaar hasn't given up. He's chasing hard in the race for the positions behind Conor van Kessel, leading through Tim Merlier. They're in 5th and 6th place. I think Sweek is going to be coming through in 7th, maybe with Hermans. So Sweek losing a few points. He's going to be dropping down from 2nd overall, but still well up there. And Michael Van Turner, after his earlier problems, is there. Joel Bertolini, the Italian champion, just having a look over his shoulder, looking for somebody else to take a bit of the pace coming through. Kevin Powles, the veteran, really, giving away 11 years to Mathieu van der Poel is Kevin Powles, the old man, if you like, at 33. Just looking back at some of the action, and that could hurt. Simon Zana. They took out Mathieu van der Poel's brother David there. Don't think David was very impressed. Marcel Wildhaber able to come take advantage. So too was Klepp, and also the Spaniard Felipe Jorret. This is almost now a lap of honour for Mathieu van der Poel. I think he can afford just to be certain through there. No problems whatsoever with those hurdles. He's only got about half a lap to go, the big Dutchman. There's the chase that's on for 10th place onwards. just going along the seashore there, but Van der Poel, it's very much the case that he needs an act of God or a mechanical here to give these two a fighting chance of the win. Ertz though, Ertz is gone again, and he's attacked Van Aert once again, and I think this time he might have got it, because Van Aert is slow to respond there. Try and chase down that gap. Arts definitely looks stronger through the hurdles, and he's going for it now. The head's going, bobbing from side to side as he puts in as much effort as possible. You can see the difference. Arts rocking and rolling on the bike there, putting in the effort. Ahead of him, Mathieu van der Poel, just kind of cruising. Oh, and that is David van der Poel calling it a day, I think, after this. Zana just tripped over his own feet, took out Van der Poel. I don't know if Van der Poel was injured. He certainly wasn't happy. But his brother, his little brother, or younger brother, we should say, certainly not little, coming through here, up the off-camber onto the pathway by the St. Nicholas Church for the last time. The nature of this course as well, it allows him to pretty much see from that point the majority of the course. Rides it to the cheers of the crowd. Up the bank, and Arts has got the gap here. Toon Arts has got the gap. He has to build on this though. Now he's run this every time and he has looked pretty quick running it, and he's still looking quick. Van Aert has got to take some risks to try and get back to his compatriot and take second place. We know he's got the class. He is the world champion after all. And he's closed slightly on Toon Arts. But every time he tries to close that gap, that's a little bit more effort that he's having to expend. Be interesting to see how this plays out. If it does come down to a sprint. Oh, but this man has absolutely dominated this race. It is going to be 4 wins from 4 for the Flying Dutchman. What an incredible ride. What dominance in the 2017-18 Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup from Mathieu van der Poel, winner in Iowa City, winner in Waterloo, winner in Koksijde, and now winner of round 4 in Bogense in Denmark. A great omen, surely, not just for the Worlds in Valkenburg, but when we return here in 2019. Mathieu van der Poel high fives the crowd as he comes in for his 4th win of the World Cup, and it's a sprint coming in for second, and Van Aert has got it here. Wout van Aert timed it to perfection. Van der Poel cruising home. That's why the gap came down, but Van Aert just timed his sprint to take second place ahead of Arts. Looking to see those positions behind. They're going to be important for the overall standings. Oh, and Wout van Aert is a spent force now. Lars van der Haar. He's going to come in for 4th place. Some camaraderie there between Van Aert and Arts. That sprint finish coming in. More sprints coming in as well, and it's Quinten Hermans who's leading it out here. Merlier has come in for 5th place. Hermans against Van Kessel, I think. Sorry, no, Van Kessel there. It's going to be Hermans against Sweek. And that's going to be Vincent Bastens coming in there as well. I think he has jumped clear of the chasers. So is he going to be coming in for 9th? No. Van Toornhout's still in there, and Kevin Pauls. So Van Toornhout is going to take 9th. Pauls will take 10th. Then comes Bertolini in 11th. Then it's Vincent Bastens in 12th place. Just checking to make sure he's going to come home clear ahead of Tom Moisen. Another win then in the bag for Mathieu van der Poel. Gianni Vermeersch takes 14th place. Michael Boros, the Czech champion, taking 15th after that early crash. The German champion, Marcel Meisen, coming in. He had an eventful race too. Adams in 17th. Then comes Arnouts in 18th. Dieter van Toornhout in 19th, and then 20th place. We'll go to Sud. Mathieu Boulet for France there. But here's our winner. He had the time to come in and celebrate as the others were sprinting behind, cruising home to victory. Win number 4 of the 2017-18 Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. And then the sprint finish. These two traded 2nd place all the way through. Wout van Aert giving it absolutely everything on that last sprint to take 2nd place, and it was a sporting handshake to the former European champion Toon Aerts, who was smacking his bars in frustration as he came through, relegated to 3rd place there, but a great race from him, put in a fantastic effort. And just coming in there, 31st. A good recovery, really, for the US national champion Stephen Hyde. After not even 100 meters, he was out of contention, but the mechanical had to run to the first pits. So Hyde showing some grit and determination to continue and keep himself in a point-scoring situation. So we will be getting ourselves ready for the next round of the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup, which is going to be coming to you from Zeven in Germany, the north of Germany. Not actually so far from here, and just only 6 days away because it's a Saturday race, remember. So make sure you're joining us the 25th of November for our next round. Then it's to Belgium, Namur, on the 17th of December. Huizen-Zolder on the 26th of December. So hopefully everyone is going to have got over their Christmas celebrations. Nome in France hosts us for our first round of 2018. And then the final in Hyde, pretty much home turf for Mathieu van der Poel. Surely we won't be going there with him being undefeated still. It'll be a phenomenal achievement if he can do it. Just coming home there, I think on your screens, Jeremy Tarrant from the US, and he's rounding out the top 40. You can see on his face as well just how hard this race has been. On the flat sections, they've been contending with strong, icy winds. Very tough course with more than a touch of Swiss mischief from the UCI's Bad Warburg testing. Tough course. We've seen some great winners over the course of today. Just to remind you, early on as we look over the sea, over the Kattegat, junior win for the Czech Republic, under 23 for Great Britain's Tom Piddock, women's won by Sanakan and Mathieu van der Poel, our race winner in the elite men. The sun is starting to set over Bogense here. Hopefully we're going to be hearing from Mathieu van der Poel very soon. I think we can say it's been a great rehearsal for Cross Denmark here. All of the volunteers and organisation in Bogense looking forward very much now to the 2019 World Championships. And would recommend you get yourself your tickets booked, because it is a beautiful part of the country here. Historical town, and I think we're going to have some fantastic racing on this course at that World Championships. So looking forward to that, and hopefully, as I say, we should be hearing from our World Cup winner Mathieu van der Poel very shortly. Trying to do some quick calculations in terms of the positions, and Van Aert is now going to be on 220 points, so he's going to be a full 100 points behind Mathieu van der Poel, and I think that is going to be enough to move him up to second. He's 1 point ahead of Vlas van der Haar, and just doing a very quick calculation for Toon Aerts. Toon is going to be in fourth, I think, on 204. So quite a few chops and changes from second downwards in the standings, but absolutely no doubt whatsoever that Mathieu van der Poel is the man to beat in this season's Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. Don't forget, you can watch review action on the UCI YouTube channel. Catch up with the action, catch up with the standings as well on the UCI website, uci.ch, and for the next round as well, make use of the live tracker that we have for all the action as we see how the races unfold at Zeven. So just to recap for you, the top 10 in this race. Van der Poel with the win, Van Aert in second, Aerts in third, Van der Gaar fourth, Merlier fifth, Van Kessel sixth, Sweeck in seventh, Hermans in eighth, Michael Van Turner in ninth, and Kevin Pauls in 10th place. Let us know as well what you think about the way the series is playing out if you're on Twitter. Get your comments and questions in under the hashtag Telenet UCI CXWC. And if you've got some questions for us, we'll try and get them answered for you at the next round. If you join us next Saturday in Zeven, I'll try and bring you some answers if you've got any questions, and give us your tips on, give us your punts on who's going to win the overall. Do you think Mathieu van der Poel is going to be undefeated in this season, or can somebody take him off that top step of the podium? As we say, he's got 100 points advantage now, so we know even if he doesn't race at the next round, he is going to be the World Cup leader. And I think we are going to be hearing from him just about now. We're getting him ready in the press area for our post-race interview with the World Cup leader. So just some post-race formalities to go through. Hopefully going to be bringing you that interview with Mathieu van der Poel and the award ceremony for the elite men's race.
6, 7, 7, 6, 8.
And you can see why the race was brought forward. It's starting to get very dark here in Bogense. We weren't going to have another floodlit cross here on the shores of the Kattegat, so wraps up nice and early. And just hearing, we're going to be getting Mathieu van der Poel into position for his post-race interview in the next few seconds. So please stay with us to hear from the race winner and the leader of the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup.
Next Saturday, we're going to Germany. Another trip to the world in Singapore. Fifth round already.
And here he is, European champion and race winner, Mathieu van der Poel.
Mathieu van der Poel, fourth win in four World Cups. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I mean a lot. It's very nice. It started in the United States with great weather, and now we're here in Denmark, and it's amazing to win my fourth World Cup in a row.
And next year there is a World Championship over here. That must be a great feeling.
Yeah, it is. It was a bit a pity that all the descents were running sections now.
You had to run over there.
Yeah, the mud was too thick to ride through it, and yeah, and I prefer to ride it, but I think the safest and the fastest option was to run today.
Thank you very much and enjoy your victory.
Well, Van der Poel then, as we heard, 4 wins out of 4. He has been dominant, and we're going to be experiencing some deja vu very shortly with the award ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we please have your attention for the award ceremony of the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup Bogense for our men elite. Ladies and gentlemen, in third place representing Belgium, your applause for Tarrant.
Tarrant then taking third, beaten in that sprint finish. Takes second, takes third place for Telenet for the Alliance. And the man who pipped him to the line. Just managed to come past in the last few meters to take second place, Wout van Aert. For Krilan Charles.
But then, ladies and gentlemen, the winner today, here in Bogense, Denmark, for the men elite, representing the Netherlands, make some noise for the European champion, Mathieu van der Poel.
And Van der Poel then, Mathieu van der Poel, his 4th win of the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. The European champion will be donning the leader's jersey once again.
The leader's jersey will be presented by Mr. Harald Tiedemann Hansen, member of the UCI Management Committee and President of the UCI Cyclo-cross Commission. The leader's jersey for the World Cup for Mathieu van der Poel. Then we will have Mr.
So Van der Poel in that jersey, and he'll take that to round 5 in Zeven in Germany.
Congratulations also from Mr. Henrik Jensen to Tom Aerts, the checklist also for world champion Wout van Aert. And of course for the winners today and the World Cup leader for Mathieu van der Poel.
So congratulations then to Tarrant, to Wout van Aert, and to, of course, Mathieu van der Poel, the winner here in Bogense. And in his honour, it'll be the national anthem of the Netherlands.
and the winner of the World Cup leader, Mathieu van der Poel.
So congratulations, Mathieu van der Poel wins in Bogense, 4 from 4 for the Flying Dutchman. And that's going to wrap up our coverage of the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup for today. Join us next Saturday for round 5, coming to you live from Zeven in Germany. But for now, I'm Dan Jarvis, and thank you very much for joining us for the Telenet UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup.
We are already very forward to the year in 2019 for the UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships. I want to thank all the spectators who came there today. I want to thank also all the sponsors, all the volunteers. I would say they had a great Sunday night, and I hope to hear also you next weekend in Zeven. And Hannah in Belgium. And of course, a big thank you to you, Michael, for the cooperation. UCI selvfølgelig de her tilskuere, der var derude i dag, de var med til at gøre det her lige så spektakulært, lige så fedt som rytterne, og som vi alle sammen håber på forhåbentlig er det ikke et farvel, men et Bogense næste gang, der er en stor cykelkross her i Bogense. Det er det største af det største, det er DM i februar måned 2019. Kom rigtig godt hjem.